Yeah, for UC Davis, they are just in a rut offensively, and obviously, as you can see from Kayla's keys, that's fun to say. The Aggies, and when they're at their best, they're going inside and out and finding open shooters. And we'll see if they can get out of this shooting slump that they've admired on. And not coincidentally, that's coincided with losing 3 of their last 4 games, and they've relinquished first place in the Big West. And there is Shelly Duchemin, the transfer. She played at CSUN first for 2 seasons, then went to Northern Colorado, and now back in the Big West playing for UC Riverside. And Duchemin missed the last 2 games with an injury, but back here tonight, suiting up for UCR. And she is their leading scorer. Junior out of Culver City. Aggie ball.
Riverside's doing a really good job of not letting Davis get in their sets and taking away those passes. They're bringing that defensive intensity right now, and Davis needs to have the counter to that.
Well, under first official year head coach Brad Langston, Burns with a turnaround in and out. They have really shaped an identity of being a hard pressure team. They're going to press most of the night as we get a look at tonight's starting lineups, which are presented by Upscale CBD. Michaela Rose, Seneca Hackley, Zoe Tillery, who is the Sacramento native. That's the backcourt. Shelly Duchemin and Esther Matarans in the front court. So it's an early 4-0 lead for the Highlanders. And Burns to Epps, who's not able to hit with a left hand. Brad Langston was the interim coach all of last season, and now is in his first year as the official full-time head coach. Good defense by Megan Norris to alter the shot from Matarans. And Sable steps into a 3 and hits, and already the Aggies have matched how many threes they made in the last game. As you get a look at the Aggies starting 5, they've used the same starting lineup for all but 1 game this year. And Tova Sable, one of the best scorers in the Big West, gets UC Davis on the board, and we're not going to belabor it too much, but the Aggies in their last game, just one of the weirdest shooting performances you're ever going to see, especially from a team as good at shooting the basketball as the Aggies. Norris throws this one just out of the reach of Sydney Burns. UC Davis went 1 for 21 from three-point land, and it's kind of amazing given that stat that they were even in position at the end of the game to have a chance to beat Hawaii, though they did lose. And Sable eager to shoot and hits to make it. Oh, was that a 1-point game? Now it's 6-3 UCR. Aggie ball, or Aggies down by 3. And UCR off to a good start on offense. Kind of a surprising team this year, despite how much talent they lost from a good team last year. Aggies rush it back. They're just a half game behind the Aggies in the standings. And with a win tonight, they would tie, or actually they're 1 game behind the Aggies, so with a win tonight, they would tie UC Davis in the Big West. Epps was fouled from behind by Seneca Hackley. But nice job by Brad Langston, who spent 5 seasons in Sacramento as a high school basketball coach. Early in his coaching career, Norris misfires. And here comes UCR. They're a pretty athletic team, too. Quick. Duchemin with the jumper.
Davis is going to have to figure out fast what they're going to do with her. She's getting where she wants to be. She's, for lack of better words, bullying them in the paint right now. So, I mean, it's only the first quarter, so they have time to adjust.
Yeah, all 8 points have come from near the paint for UCR. Norris, that just rolls off. Epps crashes the glass. Burns lobs it. Nice dish right on target to Megan Norris for the layup. And the Aggies are going to be able to, if they can get the ball to Megan Norris, she's going to have an advantage tonight because UCR is a pretty small team. Matarans is their main center. And here she collects an offensive rebound. Matarans has had a nice year. Oh, good step through and fake to lay it up and in. So UCR so far, they're 5 for their first 7, and all of the points have come in the paint.
I feel like UCR is doing a really good job coming out with that intensity and running what they need to run. I don't think there's any lack of decision making. They know what they want and they're getting to it.
And that's what Brad Langston wants this team to be, is an intense, physical, and fast club. That's a deep jump shot by Hackley. It's a 2, and it's off, and Burns collects it. So UCR leads 10-5. They're just a really scrappy club, UCR, this season. They've been in a lot of close games, and they have stayed right with some of the best teams in the league. Aggies in a stretch where they're going to play 4 consecutive home games. Norris way off the mark. What a rebound by Sydney Burns. And the rebound, Duchemin. They got a foul against Mozzie Harris here. The Aggies, so far, the slump has continued. 2 for their first 8. Jen Gross making her case that there should have been a foul there on that last offensive trip. Here's the Matarons layup. Nice footwork from her. She's one of the few returnees to this UCR team. And Kayla, what do you think here? Well, actually, that was the nice dish by Sydney Burns to Megan Norris. Never mind, Kayla. As you were.
Thank you.
Hackley, who scored double digits your last 4 games, trying to draw a foul, didn't get the layup. And they are attacking the paint. UCR does not shoot many threes per game. They're not really a big three-point shooting ball club, so you're going to see a lot of drives and paint touches like that. Bria Shine, backdoor dish, beautifully done, on the money to Mozzie Harris. They're going to push here, and a quick shot by Hackley off the make, and Harris collects it out of bounds. It's going the other way, and it'll be Aggie ball on the other side. So UC Riverside with a 10-7 lead on the Aggies, but UC Davis getting back into it. Beautiful backdoor. We're used to seeing a lot of that from UC Davis.
To play it safe, but that's not our story. Only the
UCDavisAggies.com/tickets or call 530-752-2471.
Big West is back for the 2025 Hercules Tires Big West Basketball Championships presented by Credit Union One. C8 men's and women's teams battle for a conference title and an automatic berth in the NCAA tournament. Catch the action March 12th through 15th at Lee's Family Forum in Henderson. Get tickets now at UCDavisAggies.com/tickets or call 530-752-2471. Aggies with possession, facing, as always, this full court pressure by UC Riverside. It is really tight in the Big West this year. No team has separated themselves. Of course, the Aggies were undefeated for the first quarter of conference play. Now lost 3 of their last 4 games. And there is so much emphasis since the Big West shifted back to the double-bye format for the conference tournament on securing at least a top 4 seed and hopefully a top 2 seed to get the double-bye. Aggies are not in that position right now, but they're not too far away from first. They're also not very far away from being outside of the tournament entirely. We'll look at the conference standings later on tonight. We got a held ball here, and it'll give it to UC Davis. Steal, and that's what UCR thrives on. It's Michaela Rose, who is from Roseville, with the lay-in. Played at Folsom High School. And they've extended the pressure here, and the Aggies having a tough time getting across. They finally do. Glad on the shovel, and Bria Shine is headed to the free throw line. Kayla, I know that. All right, did they call an offensive foul here?
They called a travel.
They did, okay. travel. I should pay attention. That's another turnover against the Aggies. They're just 3 out of their first 10. And another steal this time going the Aggies' way. Kayla, I know you noticed it, and I'm sure many watching did. The Aggies have completely subbed out their starting group, except for Mozzie Harris. Bria Shine has made a couple of nice plays. She had the dime to Harris before the media timeout, and here she buries the 3.
Yeah, I think with the change, I think for Davis, it's good to get another look for the UCR defense because they're pressuring that starting 5 a lot. They know what they want. They're coming out aggressive, so to get in another group is good.
There they go. Glad just not able to finish, but Bennett with the steal and setup. Aggies are able to get a fresh 20 on the timer. And players like Clara Glad and Bria Shine, their minutes have fluctuated this season, but getting some early rotation minutes now. Bria Shine is making the most of it. You're not going to find a more popular player on the team than Bria Shine, and she is shining right now, a mini 5-0 run herself. Senior out of Sacramento, and we are tied at a dozen. Glad called for the foul. You see that Tova Sable was getting ready to check back in, along with Megan Norris. Tova Sable is wearing a mask. Really good minutes by Bria Shine. Sable injured her face in the last game the Aggies played in Honolulu a week ago tonight. And so she's wearing a mask here because of that injury, when she was fighting for a loose ball. As always, it is an adjustment for a player to have to deal with that extra accessory. Hillary on the handoff to Rose. A couple Sacramento Valley kids exchanging that handoff. The jumper missed badly, but we got a foul here, and it's going on the Aggie side. Brad Langston disagrees. I think Kayla, Jen Gross has put some of her starters back in, but I think she's getting out of the bench exactly what she wanted when she put them in the game early in the night.
Yeah, I mean, for example, Bria, quick minutes, but she did what she needed to do in those quick minutes. And when you get those spurts, then it's going to carry over to the next group that comes in.
And there you have it. Megan Norris, bank shot and a foul against Matarans. And Bria Shine gave the Aggies some juice, and you'll hear everybody say it. That can be contagious. And so Megan Norris is at the stripe. And the Aggies have their first lead, 14-12. 8-0 run for UC Davis. Tillery played out Laguna Creek High in Elk Grove. Now Duchemin. Baker almost forced the jump ball. Tillery able to secure it, and now a 3 short by Rose. And out of bounds. Let's see, they originally called this UCR ball, and it seems like they're going to keep the call the same. Jen Gross can't believe that it's going to stay here. Thought they might talk about it, but it's going to be UCR ball, and almost Baker with another steal. She's all over the place. Not surprisingly, Duchemin able to step in and knock down another mid-ranger. She's got 8 points. She hasn't missed, 4 for 4. Anxious to get back on the court. 11 points a night for Shelly Duchemin. Backdoor Norris to Sable. Oh, she rushed that. I think she was expecting contact. That's another missed layup by UC Davis. Shot clock off. Tillery switched onto by Norris. That's a 2. Tipped up, rebound taken by UCR's Cutler, and she missed that one. And with 1 second, Aggies are just going to hold it, and that'll take us into the second quarter. Aggies have been working on the officials tonight, and the Aggies who trailed for most of the first quarter. This opportunity with this group, he has gotten a lot out of them. Tied for 5th in the Big West. They're 5-4 overall. They've been really competitive. And they've, as you can tell, they just play so hard and kind of developed this identity of speed and pressure. Duchemin with the ball. Going right at Sable. Missed it. And off the hands of Cutler and picked up by Megan Norris. Here comes Vic Baker, stepping on the gas and setting up a wide open Tova Sable. Held ball, and the Arrow's going to keep it with the Aggies. Kayla, have you ever played with a mask before?
No, I have not. The one piece of equipment I did not play with.
You did a lot of knee braces. I know that.
A lot of knee braces,
Safety tape.
some elbow pads.
No.
Yeah, I had a lot, but not that.
Almost a 5-second call. Aggies get it in. I think you can tell Sable is trying to get comfortable with that mask. Here we go, a little 2-1 pick and roll. It's Burns who gives it to Baker, who puts up the shot. He's trying to draw foul also, and didn't get either one. Have you talked to many players that have worn a mask before, Kayla, about what it's like to play with that thing on?
It definitely messes with your vision, that one piece in the middle. So, I mean, it was promising. Tova's first shot that she made, I think that boosted her confidence a little and just getting in that groove. Obviously, having anything on your face is going to affect your game.
Taylor Rose intercepts that back door. Yeah, she's missed her last 4 shots now. Deep triple. Minshaw able to hit. And that is UC Riverside's first 3-point hit of the night in 4 attempts. Minshaw, another player whose minutes have fluctuated, but that's a pretty deep UC Riverside team. Brad Langston will go to almost anybody up and down his bench. Sable lost it. Turnover UC Davis. And out of the pack, here comes Michaela Minshaw, and big block by Megan Norris to swat that one away. Minshaw, the freshman from Sydney. And here is the Megan Norris block. Left hand too. Duchemin again, trying to get to her sweet spot. Now left-handed. Only missed one shot already with 10 points. Basically getting to wherever spot she wants on the floor, right, Kayla?
Right, I was going to say she's looking really quick, really comfortable with her ball handling, and like you said, getting to where she wants.
Another steal. Michaela Rose with the pick, but not the 6. She missed the layup. I think Gross was getting ready to call a timeout if that one went in, but Rose missed it.
Well, I think on transitions and steals, they're getting what they want, and unfortunately they're just not making some of these shots, but they're still getting those opportunities.
Norris up with a shot and in. That's 7 turnovers against UC Davis. And longtime fans know that it's been an Achilles heel for this program. And right now UC Riverside is capitalizing, and they're pretty relentless with their pressure. High teardrop out from Tillery. And here comes UC Davis. Epps in the open floor, tries the Euro step, left-hand floater. And a rebound picked up by Michaela Rose.
The 2 times Megan Norris has been in the paint, or posting up, she's scored. So I think she's coming out to the the free throw line a little bit too much, and they just need to get to the basic game of in and out.
3 out of 6 so far. A little hezzy by Hackley, and then a nice contest at the doorstep by UC Davis. Here comes Burns, and that falls off the window for Sydney.
Both teams are playing really aggressive right now, both in transition and in the half-court game.
Yeah, it's been pretty physical. It's been a lot of drives. had 24 points in the paint already tonight. And here's Duchemin again. Nice dig by Epps. Tipped it. Tillery gets it. Creates space. Short. Aggies have tied it at 19. Backdoor through the hands of Tova Sable. So, Taylor, we've seen a couple of those. I mean, the Aggies, we know they love to go. That's their bread and butter, that high post backdoor pass. I guess as somebody that's played in this and been in the position both as the big and the cutter in that spot, what are you reading about when you want to deliver that pass?
Well, obviously when this defender is behind you, and it could be a second, they don't need to be that much farther, but as the cutter, you need to be decisive. You can't hesitate and not go, because then the passer's thinking you're going right away. So I think there's been that mix-up a few times just with the indecisiveness of if I'm cutting or not, and then also just forcing it. I know it's fun to get that backdoor play, but if it's not there, it's not worth the pass.
Yeah, we're used to seeing players that have good chemistry like Tova Sable. Duchemin cannot miss tonight. And she just did the Michael Jordan shrug. Everything she's tossing up is going down right now. Backdoor here. Oh, Sussex, great cut. Missed it with a left hand. Another nice delivery that time by Epps. Duchemin's, I think that reaction was like, I did not know what I was doing there, and it somehow went down. But when you're hot, you're hot. Extra pass. Aggies good rotation here defensively, and it goes out of bounds. This is off of the Highlanders. Media timeouts. The Highlander lead is 2, and Michelle Duchemin right now is on a heater. She's got a dozen. The Highlanders up by a pair. Becoming the all-time winningest coach in UC Davis women's basketball history. Sandy Simpson still has the lead, but that lead is likely short-lived. He's had the record for a long time, 251 for Sandy Simpson, and when he retired, he gave way for his protege, Jen Gross, whom he recruited many moons ago out of San Diego to come here to Davis, and she pretty much has not left since. Harris for 3. And there is a beautiful out-of-bounds, out-of-timeout call from UC Davis, resulting in 3 points.
That was a good job of just recognizing what the defense has been doing. I mean, that's why you got all those good coaches over there to do things like that, to make the in-game changes.
Pretty much has seen everything, that entire staff. Sussex with a travel. Little indecision there after catching the ball. We have seen Jen Gross really go into her bench here in the first half. Minutes for Sussex, Glad, Bria Shine. Using her entire roster. Everybody's fresh. They've had a week off. They have the bye over the weekend. Aggies back up by 1. Monterons working against Bria. Takes it middle. Burns with the double. She steps right through it. Can't hit with a left hand. And Burns already, that's her 6th rebound. Inspired, I know, because their parents are in the crowd tonight. Came down from Wilsonville, Oregon. They've inspired me. I think I'm on top of my game too tonight, Taylor. Wouldn't you say?
Whatever you say, Greg. I'm just here to support you.
Whenever I see Ben Burns, it just brings a smile to my face. What can I say?
I agree.
Shine with a block, but also a foul. And she'll make Michaela Rose earn it. I'm sure those two have matched up before, both from in the same area. Bria from Sacramento, Michaela Rose from Roseville. 62% free throw shooter. I don't blame Sydney's parents for coming down. They won't have too many more opportunity to see Sydney play here at UC Davis. Senior, who is such a great leader for this team and has started pretty much every game since day one. Had some great mentors, Sierra Hall, Sage Stobart, among others. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody in particular.
Are you sure about that? I think
was she here when Mackenzie Turpchich was here?
I think you're just confused by the name change. That's why.
There was a Conrad.
Oh,
yeah. That's you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you were there too.
Did
Evan Turner was a great
Did
mentor.
you go to acting class before this, or you're feeling your acting gig right now?
Burns misses a 3. I'm sure, Kayla, you've talked to her a few times over the years and guided her to greatness. She's the first one to tell you that. Step back here, in and out by Polk, and Norris tied up. It's going to be a foul against the Highlanders. Now we are tied at 22 here, last 2.5. UCR won for their last 8. High defense has tightened up here. They're holding UCR to 32%. I mean, even throughout the struggles of the last 4 games, it's mainly been offensively. Defensively, they're still holding teams to a pretty low percentage. Not surprisingly for this program. Norris in her workshop. Short. Nice dish. Right on target. Polk to Hackley. And in the open floor, UCR is back up a pair. They go over the top. That pass too tall. Off target from Bennett. And they stepped out of bounds. Kaylani Polk coming out of the backcourt. Just wasn't careful with her footing. And that would have been a fast break chance. And here we see Sydney Burns, who just came out, is now coming back in for Ryan Bennett. A little off target with that last pass right here. But Aggies get the possession anyway. Backdoor. Oh, what a drive by Nia Epps. I thought she was going to swing it, but instead she saw a crease and laid it in with a left hand.
Nia does a really good job of just getting in those tiny spaces, taking her time, making sure she's not traveling and utilizing that Euro step, which is most of the time successful for her.
She is one of the best drivers on this club. She has a great first step, can beat a lot of players off the dribble with her speed. This is out of bounds, and it'll go back to UC Davis. There's that Euro by Nia, this time with a left hand. Ozzie Harris threw that like 100 miles per hour to Tova, who was 2 feet away, and Tova, nice catch. Over the top, off the hands of Megan Norris, where they're trying to get her the ball. That's her 11th turnover for UC Davis, and they run it back. It leads to a 3 by Kaylani Polk, her 11th 3 of the year.
UCR is just doing a great job of getting in transition and having the players where you want them, in the corner, at the wing, and one running the floor. And so they're getting it every time, and Davis is a little lackluster getting back.
They connect on the back door here. Nia Epps was pulled from behind on the jersey, and she'll go to the line. Yeah, the Highlanders, I mean, you look at their per-game point total. Vic Baker saw herself on the Jumbotron, reacting appropriately. The Highlanders, I mean, they've struggled on offense for a lot of the year. They're only averaging 58 points a game, which is not just an indication of, you know, how they're shooting. It's also an indication of their pace, but they play pretty fast, so they get a lot of shots. It's just they haven't always gone down. Tonight they're still around 36%, but they've shot 7 more attempts than the Aggies. Duchemin again. Finally misses one. Save, but right to Sydney Burns. And now the Aggies have a chance with numbers. And pretty nice job by Matarons to get back on defense. So the Aggies are going to hold it here. Shot clock is turned off. The Aggies are down a pair. And a back and forth first half. Well, Michaela Rose was hunting for a steal. Just didn't quite see the opening. Sable flings it. Harris has got to put it up. I'm not sure what it counted. It's short, and that'll take us to the end of the first half. So the Aggies fought back to take a couple brief leads, but Fullerton probably thinks they still have a chance to make some noise in the Big West this year. So this is as jumbled as the conference has been in a long time. And we were talking during the break, Kayla. I mean, you've been impressed by what you're seeing out of UC Riverside. You know, the numbers don't jump off the page, and they don't have a real dominant score. Duchemin's their only player that is averaging double figures, but, man, they play really hard, and they're active, and they bring a lot of energy, and you can tell why they're a team that's been so competitive this year.
Yeah, I think they're just a solid group, too. I mean, the hustle and the intensity that they bring on both sides of the court and just the cohesiveness that they have. And like you said earlier, too, just the coaching staff, they've done a really good job coming in here and, you know, setting the stage for what they want to see.
Yeah, a couple first-year assistants on the staff for Brad Langston. And another backdoor that got tipped away. Duchemin run off the three-point line. He's not much of a three-point shooter. Gets a lot of shots in the paint. There's Matarans. I'm going to call a foul here against Sydney Burns, who is making the case that she was straight up, but foul is given. All right, Kayla, here's your chance. Well, she did flatten that left arm at the end.
Well, I did tell the refs before the game that I would be kind and only kind words, so I think it was a great call.
You're a nice person, Kayla.
I try to be.
Mataran does miss the first. Esther Mataran, she's from Madrid, Riverside. That is a long way away from Madrid, Spain. A few international players on this UCR team. In fact, you know, throughout their time, dating back to Jar and Margaritas, they've had a good number of Europeans, French players in particular. UCR lead is 3. They've led it for all but about a quarter of the time tonight. There's a little screen and roll action. Sable, see if she can get herself going tonight. She's only got 3 points. Epps has got to put this up, and this will count. In and out. Found the outlet at the last second. Now, that's a few possessions now. The Aggies have had the shot clock running down and barely gotten up a shot, if they have at all. Now that went off the foot of Rose. And this is a jump ball. Back to the Aggies it goes. Well, the Aggies, I mean, they've shot a lot of threes this year. They shoot among the most in the nation. But this slump has really been a killer for them here in these last 4 games. Sable, high off the window and in. Oh, beautiful shot by Tova Sable. Aggies are shooting just 17% from 3 over the last 4 games. And tonight they're 3 for 11. But Tova Sable there, able to get that driving layup we've seen so many times from her. And there she plays the defense on that end. Norris with the save. Sable thought about pulling up. Instead, she'll take it to the basket, get fouled, and go to the line. A little banged up. I think she got hit in the face, and so she's adjusting the mask. Looks to be all right, though. Here's this shot. Kayla, when she was Kayla Conrad, she hit that shot a lot here at UC Davis, right, Kayla?
Yep, just on the other side, because you know I was not using that right hand. Just got to be honest with yourself.
Okay, good. It's a good thing that, you know, the coaches didn't scout that or anything, you know, on the other side.
In my defense, they did, and I still went that way,
to be totally honest, people gave you your left hand way more than they should have, and you took advantage. I think it's easy to forget for a lot of players that players are left-handed. Sable's been aggressive here to start the third quarter. Mataran with the miss, and more good post defense from the Aggies. Burns is going to get downhill right to the cup, and Sydney Burns gives the Aggies a 3-point edge.
I mean, from baseline to baseline right there. Sydney, a guard, getting in there, getting the rebound. I don't know if she has 7 or 8 rebounds right now. 8 rebounds and then going down and just pushing the ball in transition. That's what they need from her.
Man, when Sydney Burns is as aggressive as she is really a difference maker for this ball club. She just doesn't look for her shot that much, but tonight we've seen it, and it's showing up in the stats, not just with the 4 points and 2 out of 4 shooting, a couple nice finishes just like this, but also the 8 rebounds. She really sets the tone for UC Davis with her hustle. Duchemin going glass and can't hit. They've held her in check here in the early stages of the third. Norris lets it fly. The Aggies have played good defense here in the third quarter. UCR is 0 for 4. And they are collapsing in the paint, the Aggies. And again, this UCR team is not a good three-point shooting club. Duchemin has to hoist this one. Missed it. And I think Matarans, are they going to call over the back? Instead, it's going to be against Nia Epps. Matarans reached over her back to get the ball, but this is not going to be over the back. I called against Epps.
The ref was signaling a wraparound, so I'm going off what the ref said.
All right, that's the call. And it'll keep it with the Highlanders, but the Aggies have still played some great defense here tonight. I shouldn't have said anything. Chicano with a 3. Only the third 3 for the Highlanders. But Chicano buries it from Toronto. A couple Canadians for UCR. And that ties the game. Not for long. Megan Norris back to work. Get her the ball and let her do the rest. Chocano, another one. Same spot, different result. 31% on threes this year. And here comes Mozzie Harris. Back door. Another turnover. And you mentioned it, Kayla. That's a really tough pass to make. And obviously Megan Norris, she's like a lot of bigs in this offense. They're so confident they can deliver that pass from the high post.
Yeah, I think right now they're just overusing it a little too much. I saw Jen over there just telling them to stop. It's not there. It hasn't been there too much this game. So,
and especially once conference play hits, you see it that the teams on the other side they know this Aggie offense. They know a lot of the sets, and they're ready for some of those backdoors that they get in the preseason. And while some of these UCR players are new to the club, the coaching staff is not. Specifically, Brad Langston. Oh, nice take. Seneca Hackley with the bucket. She's got 6. Highlanders have tied it up. Baker lost the handle. We got an injured player in the backcourt, and they're going to stop play for the injury. So Minshaw down. And we're going to go to break as well. Tied at 33, but obviously everyone hoping for the best for UCR. Over to tell us that it was just incidental contact. I'm going to predict that Michaela Marshall will be all right to come back in. Minshaw. But it's tough when you have a screen that hard and that you're just not aware of, blindsided. First minutes of the night for Hannah Wickstrom. Wickstrom there on the far side. I beg your pardon, there's a shot by Hackley. I think she played very little there in the first half. She's also nursing back from an injury. That caused her to miss the last few games. UCR back up by a pair. Wickstrom, number 7 in black. Out of Melbourne, Sable, mid-ranger. All right, right, she's got 9 points, been much more aggressive here in the third. And we seesaw back and forth. Polk for three. And Clara Glad collects the loose ball. They've kept up the pressure, varying degrees of intensity. Nice pass. Shine had an angle, but the defense recovered and Shine couldn't hit. And now Baker applying some pressure herself in the backcourt. Hackley. Chocano again, shot clock winding down, and they're still at the perimeter. Polk dribbles into a three. And the rebound by Bria Shine. And the Aggies have held them to just 3 out of their first 11 here in the second half. Sable. Jen Gross gives Tova Sable the green light when she notices, even early in the offense like that, Aggies barely in the set. If she notices the defense is sagging off a bit, she can pull the trigger like that. We've seen her make that many times in her career. Bria Shine with another rebound, sends the Aggies on the break. Glad, no hesitation. Tipped up by Sable, out of bounds. Going to be UCR ball, so the Aggies are now 3 for 14 from distance. I mean, when when your teams went through slumps, Kayla, in the huddle, were they telling you just keep firing away?
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously not telling us to stop shooting, but I think the biggest thing is making sure that we're getting the shots that we do in practice. We're not trying to do anything that's different than the game that we play, and I think sometimes when things aren't falling, you try to do a little extra, you try to get that extra boost, but sometimes it's always just sticking to the basics and getting that shot that you practice all the time.
Cutler was fouled, or Cutler missed an easy one, and the Aggies get it back. And Norris back to the free throw lines. Now, about a 5-game stretch now where the Aggies have struggled. There's the foul on Cutler. And the shooting numbers have dipped, and not unexpected either. I mean, it's basketball. Even the best teams go through slumps. Aggies just trying to overcome it. And trusting the process sooner than later. Those shots are going to fall. Egg lead is 1. Wickstrom using that off arm. Offensive foul. You can see that coming. I think everybody in the arena saw that Wickstrom's left hand was way out away from her body like that. And they're going to call that every time. Duchemin ready to check back in for UC Riverside. There is Ryan Bennett with the left hand, and she has shown a lot of glimpses just like that of what she's going to be able to do in an Aggie uniform. Bennett's first points of the night. First shot attempt. Here comes Clara Glad. Aggressive move to the rim. Had the layup. Pass it up. Sydney Burns. And the Aggies are getting some looks here in the third quarter, but they're now 0 for 5 from distance. If they can get that three-point shooting going, then they have a chance to build some separation, but right now the shots just aren't falling. Aggie defense has held up here in the third, though. They've held the Highlanders to 3 makes and 11 misses. And we've seen a lot of end-of-shot clock shots like that. Wide left off of Matarons. And the Aggie crowd is going to let her hear about it. Shot clock off. Aggies will get, or should get, the last shot of the third quarter. Good battle here. Defensive slugfest. Kind of a classic Big West basketball game. Sable on the take, right to the basket. Rushed it a little bit too much. So at the end of 3, in a defensive third quarter, the Aggies hold the high. Kyle Owens. Kyle is currently battling leukemia and is now among the thousands who need a life-saving bone marrow transplant. Please join UC Davis, UC Riverside, the Big West, and the National Marrow Donor Program by texting "Do It for KO" to 61474 to join the movement and potentially save Kyle's life. Together, we can make a difference. And, you know, Kyle Owens was a player that played here at UC Davis many times in his career as a player for UC Riverside. Really good hustle player, crashed the glass hard, and was kind of a nice Swiss Army knife for some of the UCR teams that really got that program up and running under Mike Magpio. So we're really wishing for the best for Kyle. Just a terrific player and a transfer too. He started his career at Montana, and it's really a nice thing that the Big West, everybody's rallying behind him. Turnover and a missed layup to open up this fourth quarter. Here's Burns leaning in. Out of bounds, it'll be UCR ball. Has not been a pretty second half. Norris with 10 points, Sable with 9. And the Aggies really looking for a win. Lost 3 of their last 4 after starting the conference year undefeated. And trying to will their way back in the win column and potentially get back into first place. Oh, up and under, just missed it. Michaela Rose, everything but the finish with that tipsy-do. Backdoor, Norris right on target to Ryan Bennett. That is when you throw the backdoor pass, right, Kayla?
That's right.
By the way, Kayla, if I remember correctly, you never turned the ball over, too, from the high post, right?
I was usually the one cutting.
You were.
So
yeah,
I wasn't
you were.
there.
Cece also, she never turned the ball over either.
We had a good connection.
That's off the glass by Duchemin. Megan Norris, Sydney Burns, and Tova Sable. Those are the 3 players, and Mozzie Harris, that have played together for so long, and that has really helped the Aggies this year, their chemistry. Bennett thought she was fouled, didn't get the whistle. And here comes Duchemin, ridden by Burns up the floor. Tillery, mid-range jumper. Now the Aggies have really shut the faucet off in the second half. UC Riverside 3 for 18. Oh, Sydney Burns dropped it in the bucket, and Megan Norris just couldn't hang on. Tough catch. But she would have had a layup. And that's 17, make it 16 turnovers against UC Davis tonight. Highlanders, they have shot just 28%. Aggies 38%. The difference, Highlanders have gotten up 11 more attempts. Hackley. Epps, good off-ball defense, denying the back door. Rose able to get free. Norris on the switch. Rose floats it over. Tipped up. Epps collects. Taken away from behind. Monterons falls on top of Epps. Are they going to get a foul or a jump ball? And I think this is the right call. It's a foul. Monterons landed on the back of Epps. And Naya saying she's all right, but that probably hurt. Tackled from behind. Get the foul call. say normally when there's a loose ball, you like to let them play it out, but when the contact's obvious like that, that's when you call the foul. And obviously Matron's not complaining. That's only 3 points tonight. Sydney Burns again looking for her shot. And now she's getting back to the free throw line. Normally good things happen when Sydney Burns is aggressive like that. And again, she doesn't look for her shot often tonight. That's 7 shot attempts. Although that doesn't count as a shot attempt because she's going to the free throw line. Burns 80% from the line this year. Best season of her career from the stripe. And the Aggies suddenly have taken a 7-point lead on the Highlanders. And UCR just cannot get the offense going. What do you like that the Aggies are doing defensively here in the second half, Kayla?
I feel like they're bringing the pressure to UCR, kind of how UCR was doing to them in the first half. And I think they're just a little more in sync on the scout, for sure. I think they know what they need to do in the position that they need to be, and they're just being more aggressive. Yeah,
the paint defense has been much better here in the second half. That's where the majority of the Highlander shots have come from. Helpside's been there. I shouldn't have said anything again. Monterons with the finish and a foul, and that was a nifty finish as well. Helpside has been there most of the night.
I mean, and a nifty pass right there, too.
Great find. And, you know, Bria Shine made them make that pass instead of giving her that initial layup after Epps got beat. 3-point play. Highlanders needed that in the worst of ways. Their first make in the fourth quarter in 6 attempts. And only their 4th field goal make of the second half. Shine goes down, gets back up, incidental contact. Harris short on a 3. And Monty Harris is called for a trip here in the backcourt. Haven't had too many foul calls tonight for how physical a game it's been. That's only the 16th foul of the night. That's why neither team has shot many free throws. Only 14 free throws shot tonight. Highlanders trying to chisel into the lead. That 7-point advantage was the biggest of the night. Monteron's on the glass off the miss by Hackley. Needs an outlet, finds it. Duchemin has not scored here in the second half. Duchemin doubled. Looking for Monterons, who sprung free, but the Aggies with good defense, active hands. They send him on the break. Epps to Burns. That is how you run the break. And a beautiful delivery. Burns with the finish. He's got 8. Aggies back up 6. And a timeout by Brad Langston. The Aggies just one shy of tying their biggest lead on a really pretty fast break. Nia Epps to Sydney Burns in the last 20 minutes of play, and that's shown up with how well they're playing defensively.
Yeah, and I think that can be tough as a player, though, as well. You know, you're scoring all your buckets in the first half, and then you're kind of in a drop the second half. So for her, I think the biggest thing is just continue to take those shots. And Davis, like we've been saying, is doing a good job of recognizing the scout. So having those counter moves in her back pocket is what she needs to utilize.
4.7, another shot clock down to the final seconds. 4.7. Step back jumper. Rose at the buzzer. I beg your pardon. Polk at the buzzer. It's been tough sledding in the second half for UC Riverside on that end, but they have come up with just enough makes to keep it a ball game. And it's only a one-possession game. Sable going to work. Left hand, thought she was fouled. So did the Aggie bench. And UC Riverside can tie it with a 3. Hackley. Rose on the baseline cut. Looking again. Oh, Epps is doing a great job denying her the ball. floater off the mark by Hackley. Nia Epps was just running around all over the place on that trip with Michaela Rose. Little collision. It leads to an open layup for Mozzie Harris. Aggies will take it. 5-point game. Rose with the ball. Sophomore out of Roseville. Deep jump shot. That almost banked in. It comes down to Kaylani Polk. Working on Mozzie Harris. There's the help by Epps. Out of bounds. And it will be UCR ball when we come back. We'll have the final 3:45 on the other side. Aggies up by 5. This 3 keeping the Highlanders in it from Kaylani Polk. Finish coming up. Burns with the left hand. Sydney Burns with 8 points tonight. Again, that's our Hercules Tires strong move of the game. Defense leading to offense. Epps and Burns making it happen. And now the Aggies trying to get a win out of it. Trying to hold on. They're up by 5 and only 1.4 to shoot. Actually, 14 seconds to shoot. They had a decimal point up there. Now they took it away. They run a little elevator screen for Polk. Not open. And they get into the hands of Rose. Fast, quick player, but missed the layup. They're trying to get her the ball, Polk, or Rose. But she's only 1 for 8 tonight. Talented scorer, though. Here's Duchemin coming back in. Sable here. Kick out. Norris, catch and shoot. And has just not been there yet again for the Aggies tonight. But they still have a chance here to get the win and break their first 2 game skid of conference play. Polk. And it's Rose. Epps has been playing lockdown defense against her. Help side defense by Megan Norris and the big time rejection.
That's big time right there to get a stop, and for Davis focusing on that score stop, so getting a score here was big time.
And we got a foul. Fouled from behind. It's only the 3rd foul against the Highlanders. There's Megan Norris with the rejection. Rose thought she would have had a left-hand layup. And after that, she's probably thinking, what the Sigma, after Norris blocked that.
Greg, I know you didn't just say that.
What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. That's
it's probably
my
good
everyday language.
It's probably good to get that out of your memory.
Norris short. Well, the defense for the Highlanders keeping them in it. Can they cut this to a 1-possession game? Tillery was calling for it. She gets it. She's short on a 3. The door has been left open, but so far UC Riverside has not been able to bust through. And they only have 2 minutes left, and some aggressive defense here by Duchemin. The 4th foul, last one to give against the Highlanders. Pretty aggressive by Duchemin, and again, it's been a tough second half for Duchemin after a lights-out first 20. I mean, this game is still right there for the Highlanders. They just have not been able to make shots. Aggie defense has been outstanding in the second half. They're shooting just 18%. Norris off the flare. Epps going backdoor right on the money. A dot by Megan Norris.
They hit it when it matters most.
And that ties their biggest lead of the night. 90 seconds to go. 10 points, 10 rebounds for Megan. 8 points, 10 rebounds for Burns. They really need this one. Too strong. And a collision on the rebound. It's going to stay over here. Aggies with only their 3rd team foul. They call it against Sydney Burns. But that is a big-time bucket. As Kayla said, they just stop and make. They forced a lot of stops in the second half. We have a timeout here by fell into Zoe Tillery. Hackley, sorry. 2 and 3, they're close. Right next to each other, you know, sequentially. Kayla, that's how I got that mixed up. You get it. Here we go, they inbound it here. Dushman, nice job to cover up the back door by Sable. And Sable, with a block, sends it right back into her face. And that play indicative of the night for the Aggies here in the second half. It has been that type of defense that right now is putting them in position to potentially get back atop the conference. And look at this defense by Tova Sable, mask and all, left-hand block. Burns now trying to put the finishing touches on it. Cindy Burns need this make to make it a double-double. She's got it. That's one of her first, perhaps her first of her career. We'll have to check back later. 10 points, 10 rebounds for Sydney. Hackley. Norris with the rebound. UC Riverside, they have gone just 5 for 30 here in the second half, smothering UC Davis defense. And Duchemin is going to send Tova Sable to the free throw line. This lineup here, Tova, it's got just so many really good defenders. And know about Nia Epps and Mozzie Harris, but the rim protection of Megan Norris, and then Tova Sable, she's another player that's really improved defensively throughout her career, and she can defend pretty much every position. And look, the Aggies are still trying to find that three-point stroke, but it still has to be encouraging the way they're defending on that end.
Yeah, I think they did a good job tonight of making those adjustments, especially after halftime. I think we saw a big difference in just their energy, the way that they were running plays, the way that they were playing on defense. And, you know, the threes aren't always going to be on, on a given night. So making
a lot of these players aren't really used to struggling on offense once they get here to college.
I think the biggest thing is in college, you're constantly making those micro adjustments.
Yep.
They're not the grandest thing, but you're constantly changing throughout the whole game. And I think in high school, you are the best player on the team often, and so you kind of just go through the motions.
Offensive foul. And who else? Sydney Burns might have iced it there. Vic Baker with the game-clinching gritty. That's what I hear a lot, is just the details become so much more important, because you can get away with a lot in high school because of just how you can out-talent the other team with a lot of these Division I players. Tonight, the Aggies did all the little things right in the second half, a detail-oriented defense, and they break their first losing streak of conference play. Aggies back in the win column, and now they await UC Irvine, potentially a battle for first place on Saturday. But right now they're just going to celebrate another win. Aggies 52 and UC Riverside 40.